All right, this will be the kind of final before the drive. Almost pretty much done, but I figured this is a good point to do a video. As you can see, I decided to take a safe route. This is not a sales promotion, but I'm super stoked with this. I just want you to know that. I'm going to leave links below for these. These are a lifesaver. I was going to rig up some weird stuff in here to hold this truck up, because obviously, you know, you kind of want it to hang down, you know, no pressure on the leaf springs and stuff, so you can swap the axles out. These are a lifesaver. These are 10 tons a piece. I think I paid $300 for both of them. Yes, they were Amazon. I took a chance, but dude, these things are beefy and they do not move. They have nice big flat areas. I just put it right on my trailer hitch, and this thing hasn't budged at all. It's been fantastic, and I've felt so safe and secure working under here. I just want to throw that out there. These are actually really good. So not just fake reviews on them on Amazon. Legitimately, they're great. All right, we're pretty much, this isn't completely done, and I'll point out what's going on here. Obviously, we got everything on now, everything bolted back up. I did pitch these, you know, basically kind of straight across, because when I had them up further, things just didn't work out. You know, brake line wise and stuff, everything was pitched up. That would have made a huge loop down for the emergency brakes. I didn't realize these were basically on the bottom. I don't have these wired in yet, but they're ready to go. That's one of the few parts that isn't done yet. So we are still doing that. I just got to run that cable, run it up, and then do all the supports and stuff. I also have these in here temporarily. These come with the kit when you get the brake lines and stuff. Obviously it looks terrible because I just, you know, redid the whole axle. You don't want these shiny straps showing here. I mean, that kind of defeats the point. I've just got them here so that I could space everything out, because I had to do, you know, new brake lines. Figure about, these are both 12-inch extensions off of here. I had to adjust some things, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grind down here, and I'm just going to tack weld these in place. They are all metal, so I'm going to do that on both sides. I just needed to figure out where they go, and that's what I was using these straps for, to just kind of figure out, so I have enough slack here. You know, if I ever need to pull these off, you've got slack here to actually get them off. I've had it where you don't have that, and you don't want that. Same here, I've got enough slack here, so just enough, and it works out well. Everything's bolted back up. I did remove since I welded in my 4-degree on the block here, maybe we can see it over here better. Since I welded my 4-degree shim in on these blocks, in putting this back together, I got to remove the 4-degree shim that's in this leaf pack. It was right at the bottom. I thought it just slid on. Apparently it was in the bolt, you know, through the bolt package, but it's just aluminum. I actually ground it off, and then I just put the block back in. So there's really only one moving piece in here now, and that's just the block. So it's leaf spring, block, and then the perch. So that's great. The angles line up awesome. I won't be able to show you too well on this, but it's right where it needs to be. Actually, once it hits the ground, it moves up, and then it's perfectly where it needs to be. But these angles are really good, and that's what you want, so you eliminate vibration. And yeah, just stoked. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the old gears, because I kept the stock gears in here, which are 410s. They looked great. I kept everything in the same specs that I pulled them out at. So we'll see. And the specs were within what they're supposed to be anyway. But obviously we did all new bearings everywhere. Kept the actual axles themselves, but new bearings on the lens, and repainted everything, cleaned everything up. So excited, and everything's bled now. These are a pain. You really do have to tighten these down quite a bit, especially when you're doing new lines, to get them to not leak. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. Just be careful with them. I made this little bracket. It's actually not that great because I left the spot that I didn't polish out. It just looked better than the old black metal bracket that was here. I had a piece of aluminum laying around, and I just polished it up a little bit. We'll fix this down the road. But yeah, that's it. We're ready to throw the tires on. I'm going to do the emergency brake cables later, because that's probably going to take me a day just in that. You know, just figuring it out, getting them lined up and reconnecting them to everything. But in the meantime, I'm going to throw the tires on, take this out for a spin, make sure everything works good, make sure the gears are okay. Because if the gears aren't okay, then we got to back this thing back in and replace the gears with new gears, which would be fine too. I was just trying to, you know, since the gears in here were fine and they were the right everything, I was like, if I can get away with not changing them, that was my thought process here. It is filled up with a complete gallon, because one thing to take note, normally these are like 2 3/4 quarts to 3 quarts of gear oil, but with the addition of this aluminum cover, you can see it sticks out quite a bit. It holds a lot more volume than your stock cover will, so you're probably going to need an extra quart. I used the full gallon in here, and it's just up to the fill point. Mind you, the fill point is tipped higher because it's, you know, this is tipped, so I left it just a little bit below the fill point. But this took a whole gallon, just so you know. And I did do the, gosh, what was it? Oh, I'd have to look. It's like the 75/140 full synthetic, is it? Let's take a look. I don't want to misguide you on anything here. And I did get this off Amazon too. This is what I got because I have the limited slip 75/140 full synthetic. I'll link that down below too. Use the whole gallon, and that should be good. So yeah, excited. I mean, it looks great. Obviously, everything is so nicely cleaned up and looks pretty. And but now it's a matter of let's go drive it and figure everything out. So that's where we're at. I'll do another video once I drive it. But yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts, questions. If you have, you know, any questions on doing this install. I just took my sweet time with this. Realistically, you could get this done in a day, but I took time, and if I ran into parts that needed to be painted, I would sand them down, wire wheel them, paint them, wait for the paint to dry, you know, all the usual stuff. The Amazon differential cover, I will say this, I had to drill some of the holes out bigger on some of these, like 3 of them. I'm going to say 3.5 didn't fully line up perfectly, so these castings on some of these aluminum covers are not perfect. Keep that in mind. You might have to do a little fit and finish, at least for me. But I did get it eventually. I did notice possibly a little bit of seepage down here. I'm not 100% certain. I could be wrong. It does just come with a standard, you know, regular gasket style gasket on there. But I did order a Field Pro rubber gasket for this. So I think when I do my oil change, I'm going to swap out with the Field Pro rubber, just so I just like them better, and you can reuse them and stuff. But obviously we have about 500 miles to break in before I do that. I'm going to run this 500 miles. That's what you do on a normal gear job, and I'm just going to do that anyway, just to be safe. Get, you know, there's enough new parts and bearings and things in here. It's just safe than sorry, right? But yeah, it's looking pretty sweet. Happy to finally have a nice 14 bolt in here. Oh, and the other thing I'm going to do, check this out. When you have pre-axle dump, you can see all the exhaust, because you know the exhaust is like up here dumping down. Well, you can see it where it dumps down. It dumps down right there, and it's basically pointing at the axle. I'm going to change that because nice new axle. I don't want that thing getting just exhausted up. You know, you put it there for the sound. It gets a nice echo under the cab and sounds mean. But I don't want this new axle looking like this. Literally, there is crap all over this thing. So we're not going to do that. And the crap's getting up here on the frame. It's getting everywhere. So I'm going to extend out that exhaust, and I'm going to have it dump back here. Still fired down, but it's going to be more, you know, probably right up in, let's see if I can get a good view, right up in this range, and then dump down here. I know that's hard to see on camera. So we're going to do post-axle dump downs. That's the idea. So that's what I'm going to change, and I just want to let somebody know that's watching and maybe thinking about the same thing. Yeah, don't dump it down before your axle unless you really want that sound. You're just going to get, you're going to get this, dude. You're going to get all this crap. I'm barely even touching that, and just, yeah. It gets on everything. It got on the leaf springs, got on the frame. It's everywhere. I have to clean the shocks off all the time. Not so good. Sounds cool. Realistically not cool. So yeah, we'll have to spend more money to get those extended, but whatever. Part of the learning, and you guys get to learn for free just watching me, so you don't have to make the same mistakes. Anyway, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts. Looks sweet. Excited to try it out. Let you know how it goes.